Good morning. How are y'all? Share your referral link. That's new. What is that? Hang on. I don't know what that is. Good morning. Today is slick back Cynthia hair. If you don't know what Cynthia hair is, I'll give you. We have a couple of vocabulary words at Sneed's Farmhouse. Over the years of being creator, there's just certain vocabulary words that have stuck. Like this curling iron. If you're new to Sneed's Farmhouse, this curling iron is not a curling iron. It is a preaching stick. Okay. I exercise healthy habits. So one thing that I call this is vodka. I call Coke Zero a protein shake. I call my hair when I'm having a bad hair day, Cynthia hair. I don't know, a year, 2 years ago, it was the summer. I had long hair. I was sweating my butt off and drenched. And this lady on YouTube kept telling me that my hair looked terrible and that I should not film with my hair looking the way it looked. And she kept saying it. And I was like, dude, I don't know what to tell you, but like I own a farm and I sweat. Like I'm out here hot in 100-degree weather. So I decided, because at first it was hurting my feelings when she just kept telling me that my hair was awful. And so I just named my hair after her. So when I have a cheese ball hair day, I call it Cynthia hair. So that's where it came from, is Cynthia hair. And see, I have this cowlick going on right now, and I'm a slick back. And the reason I'm a slick back today is because today is National Clean the Duck Pond. I have to clean the duck pond this morning. So I felt like there's no sense in curling my hair because I'm fixing to get duck poop in it. And I'll have to come take a shower anyway. So today is Cynthia hair day. Okay, I don't know what other vocabulary word I'm leaving out. If there's a vocabulary word I'm leaving out, I'm sure there is. All right, update on Toyota. That's the first thing. I'm taking my glasses off and I'm going to get ready. When I take my glasses off, if you're joining me for the first time, I kind of become blind. I can sort of see messages, but it's kind of hard. Update on Toyota. Are y'all ready for this? Okay. So my lawyer sent a letter to Toyota, and Toyota said if she sends this much money and she gets a cashier's check and she puts the account number on it and she overnights it certified, then we will send her the car. I did exactly what they said. So then Toyota received the check, told my lawyer they received the check. But before they could send the car to me, they needed to make sure the check cashed the bank. Okay. The check cleared the bank. The check cleared the bank. And then Toyota decides, oh no, we need her to sign paperwork that she won't sue us. They kind of threw that in after the fact. And I said, Well, why in the world would I sign paperwork that I would not sue them when the car is not in my possession and I don't even know what the car looks like? So I asked for pictures of the car. I also called Larry's insurance company. I can't remember if I told y'all this, because I was thinking about the car is in Atlanta. The car has to come to Birmingham. I canceled the insurance when I thought we were no longer getting the car. So I called Larry's insurance company back. I told them the story, and they said, Judy, y'all cannot have insurance on a car that is not in your possession. So I called the lawyer back. I said, look, I can't even get this car insured because it's not in my possession. So if there's a car accident between Atlanta and Birmingham, who is responsible? Because it's not going to be us because we can't get insurance. So Toyota sent pictures of the car. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Okay. In the first set of pictures, it's the car being repossessed and it's in the gas station parking lot with the whatever, the tow person, the repossession person has got the car and it's in a gas station. So I guess legally what they do is they pull over to the gas station after they repossess the car and they take pictures of all the car to make, I guess to say this is what the condition the car was in. So in those pictures, there's no damage to the car. Okay. Then along with the pictures of the car in the gas station, they send pictures of the car in the parking lot. And they take pictures all around the car. There's no damage to the car. Then they send pictures of the car like an assembly line, I guess going through an auction, and they tell the details of the car. It almost looks like, that thing that's on the sticker that's on the outside of the car that tells the details of the car, like airbag, four-wheel drive, whatever it has. Well, it had all the details, and then it had how much they spent in repairs for the car. And they sent pictures of the car damaged. And the right fender has no paint on it. It has been damaged. And they spent X amount of money to have the car repainted. And I'm like, so Shane was like, Judy, go pull the security camera and show the lawyer the pictures of the car sitting in our carport the day of the repossession. So I had pictures showing there was no damage to the car. I'm like, my lawyer's like, look at the car in the parking lot and look at the car in the gas station. There's no damage. But there's damage that y'all had to repair. So obviously the car has been damaged. So I have no idea. That was on Monday of last week. So I have not talked to the lawyer since then. So it's been a week. So I'm assuming she's going back and forth with Toyota. But I told the lawyer, she's like, what do you want to do? I said, this is what I want to do. I am not the suing type. I'm not. I've never sued anyone in my entire life. So this is what I want. Send me my freaking money back for the car. I will send you the title to the car and sign it over. But if you sell the car for $5,000, Larry does not owe the difference. And let's just say shebang and walk our separate ways. Just give me the money for the car and let's just walk our separate ways because I am done with this situation. I will sign that I will not sue them, but Larry is not liable for anything and send our money back. And I ain't signing nothing until we get the money back and it's back into Larry's account. That's what I told her. I probably could sue them, but I am not in the mood. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to sue anybody. But I know that Larry and I are not in the wrong. But I want this to be over. That's the main thing. Okay, moving on. Okay, I'm going to highlight on this real quick before I talk about Step. My peacock enclosure got finished last night. The peacocks are in the enclosure. I have never felt in the 6 years that I've had this farm, I have never felt so excited and at peace about my animals being secure. And I told Shane and I, when I tell you we absolutely worked ourselves to the bone this weekend, we worked from early morning till like 8:30. We're out there with the flashlight working all weekend long, both of us killing it to get that peacock enclosure finished. It is awesome. I told Shane, I said, Shane, I sit here and look at this peacock enclosure. You basically built this whole thing by yourself. I mean, I held a board or screwed a nail in, or I guess you don't screw a nail in, screwed a screw in, tried. I picked up boards. I held things. I did everything, but Shane did it all himself. The whole entire thing, all by himself. And I said, Shane, I can't even begin to tell you how grateful I am for this. I'm so thankful and so grateful to you for all the hard work, effort you have put into this peacock enclosure. I feel like I cannot thank him enough. Because if y'all saw the videos of him working, but when you're physically here watching him work his butt off up and down a ladder, measuring, cutting, like he did everything himself, every single thing. And I'm just grateful. Sean did come over here and help move the nesting boxes, because the nesting box thing is heavy as you know what. He did help one day putting fencing up. But for the most part, Shane did everything by himself. And it is not, I can't put my pheasants in there yet because there are a couple of spots that would have to be fixed. It's very safe for the peacocks, but it's not safe for the pheasants yet. So it will be a minute. But I'm debating whether I want to put the pheasants in there because Stone, all of a sudden, has decided he hates my guts. And he is flogging. So I'm like, do I really want Stone in the peacock enclosure? So if I go in there, I get flogged. Do I really want to do that? Not really. I want to be able to go in there and enjoy my peacocks. As a matter of fact, Elsa, which is one of the new peacocks, eats out of your hand. And I want to begin to work with the peacocks where they eat out of my hand. So I really don't want to be flogged in the middle of it. So I told Shane, I said, let's just not worry about moving the pheasants in there. Shane, you've worked hard enough. We'll do that in another time. I'm not worried about my pheasants right now. We're tired. We're tired. And we need to recover from all this. So I'm very thankful to Shane. Very, very thankful. Okay. Becky, I don't even know how to. I don't even know how to say her last name. Zolator, that's here right now. Um, her and I were talking on the. We were talking on the phone. Becky and I. Becky and I are friends outside of social media, and she made the comment to me something about. She said, "I don't like when you use the word step with Larry or my stepchildren or whatever. I don't like the one. I don't like it." I don't know if she said these exact words, but she tried. It's almost like Becky. We're almost the same age, but it's almost like she's kind of a mother figure with me. And when I talk to her, she she leads me in the right direction, and she makes me think a lot. She does. She makes me think a lot. And so she said basically that I needed to think about using the word step. And so when she said that, I was like, why do I do that? So today I thought I would talk about it. I am a stepchild to Larry and my stepmom. I have My stepmom has been in my life and since I was probably, I can't remember. I think I was 9 years old, maybe 7 years old. I can't remember. No, I was because Bobby was a baby. So I had to be 5 or 6 years old when my dad remarried my mom. So I became a stepchild. And I remember, I know what it feels like to be in a blended family and be the stepchild. I know what it feels like. I've been a stepchild my entire life. When it comes to Larry, Larry doesn't have any children himself. Larry came into my life after I had already graduated high school. So I never called Larry dad. I called Larry Larry because Larry didn't raise me. Larry, like I said, I was 18, 19 years old when my mom got married to Larry. So I have always, me and my brothers call him Larry because he did not raise us. Um, I began, when I refer to Larry with y'all, sometimes I say the word Larry and sometimes I say the word dad because I feel like it's confusion when people go, "Who is Larry?" And I say Larry because that's what I call him. I don't really, when I talk to him, I don't call him dad. I call him Larry. I say to you guys sometimes my dad is on hospice because when I say the word Larry, y'all, people that join me for the first time, people say it all the time. Who is Larry? When it comes to Larry, I have to think about this. Larry has never parented me. So when I think about the word dad, I think about who raised you and who instilled values and who led you down the right path. My own personal dad, I don't even know how to explain my personal dad. My parents got divorced when I was in first grade, and my dad remarried within a year. So it was like, you know, it was like my dad was no longer in my life, and all of a sudden this new woman's in my life. And it was a little devastating to me as a child because it all happened so quickly. As a matter of fact, I did meet my stepmother before they got married, but everything happened so quickly. They didn't date very long. The divorce of my mom and dad were so new that mom was grieving. My mother loved my dad. So my brothers and I witnessed my mother crying a lot when we were children because my mom did not work when my parents were married. So mom went from a stay-at-home mom to bam, she works a full-time job. So it was an adjustment for us kids, as well as my mother living alone, being a single mom. Then all of a sudden, my dad's married, my mom's devastated. And then all of a sudden, the kids are going to their dad's every other weekend with this woman. And my mom's having to let the children go with this woman that she doesn't know. My mother was devastated. Devastated. So I have never called my stepmother mother. I've always called her Sheila, even though she has been in my life since I was 6, 7 years old. I've never called her mom. There were when I think of the word mom and dad, I think of that's who you were birthed by. Your blood is your mom and dad. You're birthed by them. My dad was in my life. Like, I do remember we went over to their house every other weekend. But when my brothers and I sit and have a conversation, as a matter of fact, we did this past week. And I said to my brother, I said, what did dad teach you? And he goes, Dad was a son of a bitch. That was his exact words. My dad was a son of a bitch. Sorry for saying the words, but that's what my brother says. He goes, the only thing dad taught me was business. And I was trying to think in my head, what did dad teach me? And it was the same thing. My dad was all about a number with money. And I wonder if that's where I'm kind of janked up in my head about money because all the Wanigers are kind of like that. We're all about starting a business. We're all about scared we're going to go bankrupt. We're all like the same. All of us are the same way. And I really think it's from my dad being so, I guess, janked up when it came. My dad owned a business his whole life. So my dad really didn't. My dad, I don't know. I don't want to talk bad about my dad because my dad's not here to defend himself. I just think my dad was an alcoholic and my dad was troubled. And I think that he did the very best that he could do in the circumstance that he was under. My stepmother was very stable. My dad was not. So my stepmom was really good for my dad. She kept my dad balanced. I don't think my dad kept her balanced, but she kept my dad in line. Because before my stepmother came into my life, my dad was in rehab. My dad was, he was just not well. Okay. So my stepmom was a very positive person in my life because my stepmother is positive to begin with. She walks around and you don't know she has anything, like she don't talk. She don't tell you her problems. She don't struggle. She don't cry in front of you. Like she's perfect. Like perfect all the time. She is very private with her life. And so growing up with someone that was perfect, it was very confusing as a child because you never saw her struggle. As a stepchild of a blended family, I always felt myself comparing myself to my stepbrothers. My stepmother married a man before my dad that was very wealthy. He owned a lot of land that was worth a lot of money. Okay. And when he passed away, uh, he left them pretty financially set. So they never struggled financially. And my stepbrother, it was almost as if he did no wrong. So I found myself as a stepchild always comparing myself to my stepbrothers. Both of my stepbrothers are very financially well. One of them is a surgeon. One of them is a very successful business owner. They're both very wealthy. And then there's me and my brothers. And we are always Fred's kids. Fred's kids. That's how we were. And when we would stand by my stepbrothers, it was like me and my brothers never felt like we measured up because we felt like my dad always compared us to my stepbrothers. And it was like Fred's kids were a train wreck and Sheila's kids had their crap straight. And I remember to this day, you know, I feel compared to my stepbrothers. I do. And when you're in a blended family, but me and my stepbrothers, we never fought. We got along. I love my stepbrothers. Like, I love them. I'm not very close to them. We were growing up because, we went over to the house every other weekend, and both my stepbrothers are older than us. And so I think Tommy is in his 60s. Like, I think he just turned 60. I'm 54. And then my other stepbrother is probably like 57. So they're not that much older than us. But I just remember the word step was said when I was a kid. This is my stepdaughter. When I was introduced, this is my stepdaughter. It was, we were never introduced as this is my daughter Judy, or this is my son Greg. It was, this is my son Wade, and this is my stepdaughter Judy. That's just what we did. I never felt disrespected because they said stepdaughter, because I knew I was the stepdaughter. So like, it didn't bother me. I didn't like, you are how you're raised. So I was a step kid. It doesn't help that I have red hair and I'm a step kid, because this is what I was called by my brothers. Judy's the redheaded stepchild. They used to say that all the time. Anyway, it was just they never said we were their kids. It was, we have 3 step kids and 2 sons. But see, like, my dad raised Wade, my stepbrother. They got married when my stepbrother was, I'd say, in 4th grade. So my dad raised Wade. My dad was Wade's best man in the wedding. Now, I do remember my dad saying stepson. So it was just understood. It wasn't, I did feel compared to my stepbrothers, because it seemed like they did no wrong. But see, my stepmother doesn't tell problems. So it wasn't like she said, "Oh, you're not gonna believe what Wade did this weekend. He got drunk and freaking got a DUI." Not that he did that, but like no one ever told us that he did anything wrong. And then when it came to me and my brothers, oh, we were train wrecks. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like Wade and Tommy were up on a pedestal. They're a doctor. They're successful. They make straight A's in school. We were C students, like it was just. Then when I got married to Robbie, my children were 2 and 3 years old. Okay. Robbie had a son that was 2 years old. So we had two 2-year-olds and a 3-year-old. Okay. I'm fixing to be so honest, it ain't even funny. Okay. I was married to my kid's father, Chris. We were married 5 or 6 years. I literally hated my marriage. And I hated my marriage because I felt as though I didn't have a husband, I had a child. Because we couldn't keep a job, he couldn't keep a job. I couldn't hand him bills and say, "Hey, will you mail these?" He would put them in the car and never mail them. I remember for Christmas, I got Christmas presents. He wrote checks, didn't know how much money we had in the bank, and freaking checks were bouncing all over the place. And I was supposed to be excited that I got a watch for Christmas. I'm like, dude, it was me that handled all the banking stuff. So, I just felt as though, and I'm not trying to talk bad about him, I'm just being truthful. I felt as though I had a child, an adult child, and I did not have a stable husband to help us. I felt like we kept going backwards. So I cheated on him with Robbie. Okay. I cheated on him. And I left him and went and married Robbie. I can't remember when we got a divorce, but I moved. I really feel sorry for him because I cheated on him. We sold our house and I moved me and the children in with Robbie immediately. Chris was devastated. Chris loved me. I guess so, because I did everything and I was the breadwinner. But he was devastated because I went from one marriage into another one and moved the children into the house with Robbie. Talking about train wreck, I was a train wreck. Okay. That was not something that I'm proud of. I am not proud that I did any of that. I was 29 years old. Yeah. I was old enough to know better, but I did that to Chris and I do regret it. To this day, I feel bad that I did that to my children and I did that to Chris, but I did. And I had to live with it. So I moved. So my children were raised by Robbie. Okay. So we were a blended family. To this day, Chris and I fight. We hate each other. Hate is a strong word. We hate each other. I can't stand the way he parents. I can't stand the way he treats my kids. He hates my guts. Okay. Because of what I did to him 30 years ago. Okay. He still hates me to this day for what I did to him. There's no in between. We cannot be in the same room. We cannot talk. I'm not proud of that either. It's like I would go to therapy to learn how to quit hating him. And I would get there and then he would do something and I'd hate him all over again. So I finally just in my head was like, I just have to separate myself. My kids are grown now. I don't have to see him. I just need to get him out of my life. And I have. I pretty much have done that. I remember, I don't know how long Robbie and I were married, but my kids were young, right? And I remember Robbie wanting to be in my kid's life, and he wanted my kids to call him dad. He did. And Robbie raised my children. My kids called Robbie dad. Robbie did not say, I have one child and two stepchildren. Robbie said, I have three children. I have three boys. Robbie accepted my children as his own. Okay. The day that Chris found out that my kids were calling Robbie dad, when I tell you he flipped the flip out, he flipped the flip out. Okay. He got very angry at my children, and my children had to call Robbie at their dad's house, and they called Robbie dad at our house. And they had to learn that, oh, dad gets mad when I call Robbie dad. I have to say Robbie. And they would slip up sometimes and they would go, my dad, I mean Robbie. They were scared to death to call Robbie dad to their dad. So it was always step was said when I was a child. When I had children, step was not said. As a matter of fact, my stepson, I'm going to say step, Robbie's son, I raised him. I changed his diaper. That child was mine. I took him at 5:00 in the morning, not 5. During the summer, Packy would stay with us. And Packy had, I forgot what you call it, but he had to go to football practice at like 6 a.m. every day during the summer. Judy would have to get him up, get him dressed, take him to football practice. I mean, I was at every single baseball game, every single school event. Robbie was at every single theater show that Vanson has ever been in. Robbie was on the front row cheering Vanson on. Robbie was very much a dad in my children's life. He was a wonderful father to both of my children. He was. And we never really used the word step. To this day, me and Packy's dad, Robbie, have been divorced 10, 11 years. To this day, Packy calls me. He calls me mom. He doesn't call me mama. He calls me Mama Jude. And I've been Mama Jude his whole life. And I didn't tell him to call me that. Packy chose to call me that. As a matter of fact, Packy has a sister by Packy's mother and stepdad. She calls me Mama Jude. Packy's mother and me were the best of friends. Me and her have never been in a fight. As a matter of fact, when she met me for the first time, I'll never forget it. It was we were both picking up our children from daycare because Packy and Vanson were in the same class and Corbin was a year older. And I ran into her for the first time. And I was married to Robbie. We were in the daycare. And I remember looking at Michelle in the eyes and I said, Michelle, I will never be Packy's mother, and I will never try to be Packy's mother. But I will be the best stepmom that I can be, and I respect you as a mother. And I will never, ever do anything to disrespect anybody in this family. I love your son just like he's mine. And I will do my very best to respect you and to lead your child in the right direction as his stepmom. And ever since then, as a matter of fact, y'all, one Christmas, me and Michelle went Christmas shopping together. I know that sounds janked up, but Packy's mother and I, to this day, if I called her on the phone, we would talk. I love her. I love Packy's mother with all of my heart. I love Packy's half sister with all of my heart. I love Packy with all of my heart. There's pictures of Packy up in my house. And when I married Shane, I said, Packy is my child. You have to accept Packy. Packy is my child. Packy comes here every Christmas. Packy's my kid. He's my kid. Sometimes I do say the word step with Packy because it is confusing when you have a blended family. It is. You know, if my kids are calling me mama and Packy's calling me Mama Jude and we're out in public, people are confused. So there has been times when I said, Packy is my stepson. How many children do you have? I feel confused to this day when people go, how many children do you have? I have no idea what to say. I don't. Because Shane has a daughter and a son. And if I don't say I have 5 children because I'm going to tell you why. And this is what I said to Becky. I said, Becky, I have to tell you how I feel. The reason I use step is because let's talk about Larry. The reason I say stepdad is because my dad's family, they watch me on social media. And I don't want, not that they've ever said this because they haven't, but I don't want them to think that I'm disrespecting my dad, my real dad, because my real dad's, passed away. And I don't want them to think I just went and got a new dad. I love my real dad. And I would never want to hurt my dad's family and I don't want them to think that I don't think about my real dad or I'm disrespecting my real dad and bypassing my real dad and saying Larry's my dad. Because at the end of the day, Larry is not my dad. Larry did not raise me. Larry has taught me things. Larry, the main thing Larry taught me is how to, when you get married and it says in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer. Larry stuck to his vows. Not very many men could go through what Larry went through and stick by my mom. I mean, bedridden for 11, Larry wiped my mom's butt for 11 years. Okay. And I realize what I'm fixing to say is disgusting, but I want you to visualize what Larry went through. My mother died at 62. My mother was having periods until the day she died. Okay. I know that's strange for a 62-year-old woman to have periods, but my mother, I don't think ever went through menopause, okay? And my mother had strokes. Needless to say, my mother was on blood thinner her entire life. Put two and two together. My mom's having periods. My mother's on blood thinner. Every single month, Larry had to clean all that up for a week every month. And it was like a stuck pig. There was blood everywhere. There was poop everywhere. Okay? It was horrible. Larry did it. Every single month, he cleaned her up. So Larry taught me what it means to be committed to a marriage. My mother and my dad did not. Larry did. But Larry never taught me values of life as far as like who to choose for a husband, or Larry never called me his daughter. He does now, but I think it was because he never had children. But I say step, and I told Becky this. I say step because I don't want to disrespect anybody's parent. Because I went through hell with my kid's father over my kids calling Robbie dad. He felt like it was disrespectful to him. But let's think about it. Let's break it down and let's get in Chris's shoes. Okay? We're married. I have 2 children with him. I cheat on him. Chris loves me. Okay? Chris loves me. I feel like to this day, if I said, "Hey, Chris, I love you and let's get back together," he would get back together with me. Okay? Deep down inside, he still loves me, and I know it. I do not love him. I do not. He drives me crazy. Okay? But I cheated on him. I moved the children out of his home, our home, into another man's home, and my kids call him dad. Can you imagine for 1 second the hurt, the disrespect that I put that man through? This man loves me, and I cheated on him, moved out of our house directly into this other guy's house with my children. Can you imagine for just a second the hurt that man went through? That's why he hurts to this day. He's never gotten over it. I hurt him bad. I did. I was not a good person at all. I destroyed that guy. I did. I can see why, if I was Chris, I can see why the second the kids started calling Robbie dad, I can only imagine how he felt. Being the best version of yourself is forget all the crap that he did to me. Okay? Forget it. Forget it. When you're the best version of yourself, you can't look about what the other person did to you. You have to look at what is your ownership? What is your ownership in this? Not let me tell y'all all the stuff Chris did to me because he was a train wreck himself, okay? But in order to be the best version of myself, I have to be mindful of what my ownership is in this. My ownership in this was I had infidelity, not just infidelity, but moved the kids directly into the house. And then all of a sudden, my kids are calling Robbie dad. And Chris didn't get the opportunity to live with his own children because I moved them out. So when it comes to the word step, I'm kind of janked up. Okay. I am. I guess maybe I needed to work through it because maybe I haven't forgiven myself for what I've done for my kids to call Robbie dad. But now let's get out of Chris's shoes. We know that Chris is devastated. We know my ownership with Chris, but what is my ownership to my children? Let's get in my children's shoes for just a second. Get out of my shoes, get out of Chris's shoes. Let's get into my children's shoes. All of a sudden, this new man is in their life. They go from living with dad to living with another man. Of course, they're 2 and 3 years old, so they don't really know, they don't really understand. I do remember Vanson, my youngest, crying for his daddy. It was awful. I want my daddy. I want my daddy. When it was time to go to sleep, he wanted his daddy. Corbin never cried, but Vanson was devastated. I hurt my children. I did. Now, Vanson got over it pretty quickly because he was too young to understand. I mean, he don't understand. He's 2 years old. He has no clue. No clue at all. Now, let's talk about Packy, my stepson. He did not call me Mama Jude right off the bat. I had to earn Mama Jude. Okay? I didn't come Mama Jude until he was in high school. Okay? It didn't come instant. I had to earn the respect. It wasn't that I wanted him to call me Mama Jude. I wanted him to call me whatever he felt like calling me. I wasn't going to force him to call me mom, or he just one day he said, Mama Jude, and then it stuck. But I had to earn the respect of calling him Mama Jude. I mean, being called Mama Jude. My children were taught to call him dad. Robbie sat them down one day and said, my name is Robbie. I know y'all know that, but you're welcome to call me dad. So my children started calling him dad. Robbie over time earned the respect of the word dad, but he didn't earn it before my kids called him dad. My kids called him dad because Robbie wanted to be called dad. I didn't say, call me Jude or call me Mama Jude. I never said that. I let Packy decide when to call me Mom or Judy. I didn't care what he called me. But Robbie and my children, Robbie didn't earn the word dad. Robbie told my children to call him dad. Over time, he did earn the word dad because he did do a good job at raising my children. He did. I think that was wrong of Robbie. I do. I mean, I don't I just think I mean, I don't know, I got mixed feelings. I think that it was wrong of Chris to get on to my kids for calling Robbie dad because and it was wrong of Robbie to say, "Call me dad." All it did was hurt the children. They were so confused. They didn't know what to do. Do I call? Okay, wait. When I go to dad's house, I have to call him Robbie. When I'm at home, I call him dad. It was just like it was janked up. It was. As a matter of fact, Robbie went from being this rock star dad to having nothing to do with his son nor my son. That's another story within itself. So where Robbie earned the word dad, then my children had to go, why does dad not want to be in my life anymore? It was very hurtful to all three of these kids to go from a rock star dad that was at everything to out of their life, like cold turkey. My kids were hurt and Packy was hurt to this day. So, like, the word step, to me is something that you earn. Like, no, I said that wrong. In a blended family, the word mom, dad, Mama Jude, whatever you call your stepmom, your stepdad, I feel like it's earned. I feel like forcing a child to call you mom or dad is not good. I mean, I do feel like you could present to the child, hey, I'm not your real dad, but I'm here for you and I want to be the next in line. So if you want to call me dad, you can. But telling y'all need to call me dad because that's what Robbie did. Y'all need to call me dad. And I guess that's why I'm sensitive when I'm talking about Larry. Sometimes you hear me say the word Larry. Sometimes you hear me say the word dad. Sometimes you hear me say the word stepdad. It's because I'm janked up myself because I would never want to disrespect my own father. And if I called Larry dad in front of my father, I feel like that would really hurt my dad. I do. I don't feel like the average person, now y'all listen to me, y'all can agree with me or disagree, but I do not feel like the average person is mentally strong enough to go, you have two dads. Because usually in a divorce, you're already hostile, right? You're already mad at each other, you hate each other or whatever. It's hard to come to acceptance when the spouse moves on because one wants the divorce and one generally doesn't want the divorce, right? Usually, I mean, very seldom is it a mutual agreement. Now, I think sometimes in time, you're able to accept the stepdad and the stepmom as a parent and go, you have two moms. You're very special. You have two moms. But the average person is not mature enough to let a step parent raise their children, they're angry. And then when you put calling on mom or dad on top of that, you're really angry. I know in my experience. So if you are a parent that is dealing with divorce and you're dealing with your kids going to your ex's house with a woman or a man that's all of a sudden in your kid's life, it's scary as crap. Because you're like, this woman or this man is not going to be around my child. I don't even know them. It's very scary. I get it. I feel like, and unfortunately, you and your ex don't have a well enough relationship to go, hey, we need to co-parent. As a matter of fact, me and Chris hated each other. We were in court a couple of times. And the judge ordered us to go to, what is it called? Parenting classes? No, it's where co-parenting. That's what it was. The judge ordered Chris and I to go to co-parenting classes. Okay. I went. I sure did. I went to go learn how to co-parent. Chris never went. You can't force someone to go. The judge, I mean, I guess if I went back and complained that he never went, but if you don't go to co-parenting classes with the right attitude, there's no sense in going. It's kind of like going to rehab. Forcing someone in rehab that doesn't want rehab, it doesn't work. You're just wasting your time and money. Same thing with co-parenting classes. If you don't go to co-parenting classes with an open mind to go, okay, I am divorced. There is another man that's going to be involved in my children's life. There's another woman that's going to be involved in my children's life. And I have to come to acceptance. And the best thing for my child is for me to learn how to co-parent with someone that I cannot stand. I was not a good co-parent at all. I was not. To this day, I'm not. I went to co-parenting classes because I was made to go, but it's hard to go to. For me, I did not agree. And I'm not going to tell my business on social media as far as what happened, but I do not agree at all with the way Chris was parenting my children. It was very dangerous. And I was flipping my lid. To this day, I will never accept the way he did my children, ever. I can't. I've tried. It doesn't work. I'd rather, like, I don't have to co-parent with him anymore. My kids are grown. Thank God. I don't have to deal with it. So I just got him out of my life. When it comes to the word step, I just feel like you have to earn it. Now let's go, even though my grandson, you don't usually say step grandson, right? You don't usually say that. Okay. You don't say Shane's grandson. Well, let me back up. Maybe later in life, if they're grown, maybe you say Shane's kids or Shane's grandkids. I don't know. But Eli came into my life when he was born. Why am I having a brain fart? September 18th. I met him in January. So he was only a couple of months old when I met him. And when I met him, I was not married to Shane, so I was referred as Judy. Well, then when Shane and I got married, he was probably 2 or 3. So he was old enough to talk, and he called me Judy. He said, "Papa, Shane, and Judy." Do you know how much I was about to flip my lid? Speaking of it's my stepdaughter. I was like, why does they call? And nobody in the family, not Shane, not Eli's mother, would correct him. They all called me Judy. I hated it. But I had not earned the respect of being called grandmother or mama or whatever I was going to be called, Nana. I had not earned that. I had just married Shane. But a year had gone on, and I had been called Judy for a year. And every time Eli said the word Judy, I felt like a dagger went in my heart. Like I felt kicked in the teeth. So I thought to myself, oh, Lord, I'm so long-winded. I can't talk an hour no more. Like I have to talk over an hour. I'm so sorry. So I told myself, well, I haven't earned to be called grandmother. But a 3-year-old doesn't understand. Just like when Robbie set my children down and said, "Hey, call me dad," they didn't understand. Eli didn't understand what a grandmother was. He just, the real grandparents, they say, "Call me Lolly," or "Call me G Daddy," or "Call me Pops," or whatever. You kind of, what do you want to be called? That's usually what they say. Well, no one asked me. I was just called Judy. And I said, you know what? I'm fixing to earn a relationship with Eli. I'm going to earn it. And by golly, I did. I started asking to keep him. Eli and I got very, very close. This farm helped us become close because, of course, it was fun to come to G Daddy and Judy's house because I had all these animals. How cool was that? I put Eli in my children's book. Leroy got lonely, so what did Judy do? This time she invited her grandson Eli to come play too. I included Eli in everything, and I called him my grandson. I've never said step ever to Eli. I've earned the relationship with Eli. But as a 3-year-old, he doesn't know I'm his grandmother because no adult is saying, call her this. Shane didn't say it. So finally, I just said, you know what? I'm going to tell him. I said, Eli, I'm your Juju. I'm your Juju. So for the longest time, he'd go, Judy. I'm like, I'm Juju. That's what I said. I'm Juju. And he kept saying it. Judy. And I was like, nope, I'm Juju. I'm not answering to Judy. I'm Juju. And I had to teach Eli that I was his grandmother because no one else around me was doing it. No one cared that I was being called Judy. It was driving me crazy. And I said, I can't ask this child to call me Juju until I earned his respect of being his Juju. So to this day, I've earned it. I'm his Juju. And he knows I'm there for him. And he knows I love him unconditionally. And he knows he's my grandson. And he does not know that I'm his step grandmother. And he will never know I'm his step grandmother. He will know that I'm his Juju because I earned the right to be called Juju. I did. And it's the same thing with my kids with Robbie. Robbie earned, Robbie raised them. But if it bothers you that your kids are calling the other person mom, that's when you need to stop, pause, break it down, and what is best for your child. Is it good for your child to know their step and they're not like the other ones? Like I felt, I never felt like I measured up to my stepbrothers. Do you want your child to feel like that? Or do you want your child to be special and know that they have two parents? Because at the end of the day, it's not about your feelings, it's about what's best for the child. Do you want your child to feel like they have step parents? Or do you want to feel like they're special and they have a blended family? Because they have step parents because of your marriage failing. And maybe it wasn't your fault that the marriage failed. Maybe you were like Chris. But at the end of the day, it's about your children. But I do understand being mindful of the parent. But the best version of yourself is to go learn how to co-parent. Learn how to co-parent. What do you think is best for your child? Because I feel like everybody's different. You know, everybody's feelings are different. Judy's way is not the highway. Everybody don't feel like Judy. But for me, for the most part, I'm going to call Larry Larry. I will refer him as dad to y'all, but I do feel like that I'm not going to get into that. Do what's best for you. Call and do what's best for you. Every family's different. Everybody feels different. You don't have to feel like me, but just know that you're not alone. Know that I've been there and I get it. I've been the stepchild and I've had stepchildren. I've been on both ends of the spectrum. And I've had children that have had a stepmother. I know what it feels like. I do. But at the end of the day, get out what is your ownership? What is best for your child, not what causes you pain. If your child is calling their stepmother mom, it's not the pain you're feeling, but what is the child feeling? What is best for your children? Go to counseling. Break it down. Figure out how to deal with blended families, because I feel like anybody in a blended family needs counseling because it is hard. It's hard letting your children go to another place. Very difficult. My kids are grown now, and I went through it for a very long time. It's hard. You're going to get through it, but you can't get through it alone. You need to find a counselor. Break it down. Figure out what's best for your children. At the end of the day, it's all about being the best version of yourself. You have choices today. Sitting it out is having hatred in your heart. I'm sitting it out when it comes to my children. Father, I got to work on that. And I do work on it. I'm just not there yet. It's not a quick fix, y'all. My son's fixed to be 28, okay? And I'm still have hatred. I'm not there yet. Maybe I'll get there. Sitting it out is it's all about you. dancing is understanding that sometimes blended families happen and sometimes your kids have two parents. And what a blessing it is when a step parent looks at your child as their own. That's when it becomes a blessing because there's another positive influence in your child's life. Love you. See you Wednesday. Bye.